So we're going to stick with these same three functions. All right. We're going to find their x-intercepts. And last week we spent 2 days going over that factoring review. Okay. Before, back in trimester 2, we spent a week on factoring. To find x-intercepts, when we have quadratics, when we have these x-squared equations, we want to try and factor. Okay. This first one here, okay, is a trinomial, x squared, x, and a constant. Factor the trinomial. It's going to end up with 2 sets of parentheses. I will give you about a minute to see if you remember how to do that one. Okay? Factors of 8 that add up to a certain number. See if you can do this one. All right. Everything they got the factoring for this one. Okay. So remember, 3 terms. There's no GCF in this one. So we factor into a pair of binomials. Okay. Who remembers what this minus sign tells us as far as the signs go? It's a minus sign right here. They're different. One's positive and one's negative. X squared. Take our number times 4. 3 doesn't work. Agreed? Okay. How am I going to get a -2? How am I going to get a -2 right here using these factor pairs? +2 and -4. So to verify, we took the pair that adds up to -2. +2 and negative. All that time learning how to factor. This is what we're using it for. So now, what we do is and solve those equations, and those will give us our x-intercepts. So right now, solve each equation to get an x by itself, simply by adding or subtracting. All right. What do I do to get that first one, to get that x by itself? Get rid of +2? -2. Nothing too tricky here. X equals -2. Okay. Over here, this one, we're going to add 4 to both sides. X equals 4. So you've just found both your x-intercepts. One's at -2, 0, because now the y 0. The other one's at 4, 0. So when we graph these type of problems tomorrow, we put it all together. For this problem, I'm going to have an x-intercept at -2, 0, another one at 4, 0. Okay. Right now, I want you guys to do g of x up here. 2x squared plus 6x. My hint to you on this one is greatest common factor, GCF. Okay, ignore the g of x. Just worry about this part over here. Give you guys a minute to factor that. Really? What's that for? All right, see how you guys did here. What is our GCF for those two terms? 2 and 6, what's the GCF? 2. How about x squared and x? X. So our GCF is 2x. Okay? 2 goes in both 2 and 6. There's x to the second and x to the first. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go 2x parentheses. Okay. What times 2x will give me 2x squared? X. What times 2x will give me positive 6x? Positive 3. Everybody agreed? Now we did these before, but now this is how we're going to use them and why we're doing it. So now at this point, there's multiplication here. Just like the last one, there's 2 parentheses being multiplied together. And we separate them, we set them equal to 0. We're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take this 2x. We say, hey, buddy, you got to equal 0. This x plus 3, you got to be equal to 0. Then we solve each equation. So go ahead and do that right now. Solve each one, get x by itself. Good morning. Yep. Nobody's here? Yep. Okay. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Bus is ready for you.
I literally don't want to do it. I've explained this so many times.
Okay.
Getting on my nerves.
Okay. Hi, he's not coming. No. All right. Yep. But. All right, here we go. So, what do I do on this one to get x by itself? X is being multiplied by 2? Divide by 2. All right, 0 divided by 2? 0. So this is a funny one. We get x equals 0. That just means the x-intercept's at 0, 0. It's right at the origin. That's going to happen sometimes. This one here, positive 3, subtract 3 from both sides. I'll get an x-intercept at negative 3. So for this one, okay, it's at 0 and negative 3. So it might have something that looks like this going through those 2 points. Everybody good? Now this last one, this one's going to be, this is a 10 here. This is going to be a 2-step factor. Okay. Okay. For this one here, the first thing I want you to do, if we ever end up with a negative out front here, it's just a -1, I want you to GCF out a -1. It's going to make it easier to factor. H of x equals -1 parentheses, what will I get? So go ahead and do that right now. All right, everybody got the -1 GCF'd out? So for this equation here, what times -1 will give me a -1x squared? X squared. Okay, what times -1 will give me a positive 10? -10. Okay, what times -1 will give me a -16? Positive 16. So factoring out a -1, what does that do to everything down here?
Versus whichever, whether they're positive or negative.
Yeah, it just switches to positive and negative. And the reason we want to do this is so that this part now factors nicely. If we leave with this -1 out here, it's not going to factor well. So now I'm going to leave this -1 here. And then I'm going to break this up into 2 sets of parentheses. Just looking at this stuff in black, do what you did in the first problem. Factor this and this. All right. See how we did here. So once again, I get x squared. We're going to get an x and an x. If I have a plus sign here, what does that tell me? Same sign. Go here. Both are negative. Both are negative. Factors of 16. 1 and 16. 2 and 8. 3 doesn't work. 4 and 4. How are we getting a -10? 2 and 8. If I add a -2 plus a -8 together, I get a -10. I multiply -2 times -8, I get a positive 16. Okay. All right. At this point, I go to separate them. by multiplication. So over here I have a -1 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, and x minus 8 equals 0. Okay? Over here, does -1 equal 0? No, so we just cross this guy out. That's not an x-intercept. Over here, add 2, add 8. My x-intercepts are at 2, 0, and 8, 0. You okay with that? This will get you through all 6 different types of problems you're going to see today. They're not all 6 different. Some are the same. So this will now get you your x-intercepts. Remember to write them as points. 2, 0, 8, 0. All right, have at it. That'll get you through part F today.